Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Caitanya Caritāmrta overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Caitanya Caritāmrta, and last time we completed the second chapter, which is the explanation of the third verse of Ādī-Līlā, first chapter. So today we'll be beginning the fourth chapter. We'll beginning with the third chapter, which is the explanation of the fourth verse of the first chapter. So the chapter is entitled The External Reasons for the Appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is what we'll be discussing today. So far we have discussed, Kaviraj Goswami has described how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now in this chapter, he is describing the reasons of his appearance. So he begins, as usual, Kaviraj Goswami begins every chapter with the glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this first verse, Kaviraj Goswami is saying that by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a fool can grasp the Siddhanta. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Yadpadashraya Viryataha Sangrihnata Karvrata Agya Siddhanta Sanmanim. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande. I offer my obeisances unto Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yat Padashraya Viryataha. By the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet. What happens? Agyaha, even a fool, he can collect. Sangrihnati. Sangrihnati means collect. Even a fool can collect, collect the valuable jewels. Sun money means valuable jewels from the mine of revealed scriptures. So all the scriptures, they are like mine. And in the mine, we get so many jewels. And it requires great effort and expertise to mine out those jewels. So to understand the scriptures is not so easy. And one can royally get confused regarding who is God and how to serve him, how to approach God, and what we will get. But Kaviraj Goswami is saying anyone who takes shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if he is a fool, he can become the scholar and he will understand the philosophy. So this is very, very significant, this verse. We know the famous story. There was one person, when Srila Prabhupada was in America preaching at one place, devotees, they had small center, and not many young people were coming. After many months, one hippie came. His name was Peter, and he was like a spaced out, very disheveled, and he would not take bath. He was behaving in a very, very different ways. And sometimes he would just lie down on the hallway. Sometimes he would sleep there. And all the devotees, they were getting little disturbed by that. So they wrote to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told, can't you tolerate a person, a soul wants to come to Krishna, please tolerate. So Giriraj Maharaj, he is telling that in those days, very few devotees were there, so they knew everyone. So after a few months, he left that place, and then he asked about this Peter, and he was told that, this Peter is now settled in New Brindavan. He went to New Brindavan and he is doing very well. So then after 20 years, then Giriraj Maharaj forgot about it. After 20 years in LA temple, he saw the same Peter, and they would call him Crazy Peter because of his activities. They would call him Crazy Peter. So after 20 years, he saw this person again, Giriraj Maharaj, and he was surprised. Wow, he's still there with us. And he asked one devotee, who is he? So this devotee said, he is Kushakrat Prabhu. So Giriraj Maharaj realized that, oh, Kushakrat, because Kushakrat Prabhu was a very well-known name. He was the one who had translated so many of the Acharya's books from Sanskrit to English. And that's what he would do. He would just lie down and he would keep reading. He would not do much services. But just by the mercy of Prabhupada, by the mercy of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, that Crazy Peter became Kushakrit Das. Yat padrashraya viryataha sangrahanati akar vratat agya siddhanta sanmanim. Even a fool can mine out the jewels from the mine of revealed scriptures. So all the commentaries of Acharyas, they're not easy to understand. It is all Sanskrit. But this person was externally looking very, very, Avadhut type. He became such a wonderful scholar. That's how Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter. And then he offers his obeisances to Rupa Raghunath, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya. And so he offers his obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, and all the Panch Tattva. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So after this, he tells, Kaviraj Goswami writes that I have described the purport of the third verse in the previous chapter, and now in this third chapter, I will describe the fourth verse. And this is the fourth verse. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau samarpayitumunatujjwal rasam svabhakti shriyam hari purata sundaradati kandarpa sandeepitai sada hridaya kandare spuratuva shachinandanaha. Anarpita. So this fourth verse gives Ashirvad and describes the external reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So we have discussed earlier also that in invocation, Mangalacharan, there are three types. Three things are described. Say Mangalacharan hoy trivida prakar, Vastu Nirdesh, Ashirvad, Namaskar. So in the Mangalacharan, in invocation, three things are described. Objective of this book, Ashirvad given to the readers, and obeisances to the Ishtadev. So in this fourth verse, author, he gives Ashirvad, and also it tells the reason of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, external reasons. Anarpita, first he gives Ashirvad. Anarpita charim. So he first tells the external reasons. Anarpita, why Lord Chaitanya came, that which was not offered. Anarpita, arpit means offered. Anarpita, that which was not offered. Charim chirat, for a very, very long time. Never before it was offered. Karunaya vatirna kalau. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most merciful incarnation, Karuna avatar, he has appeared to give samarpaitum, to give what was not offered so far. What is that? Unnat Ujjwal Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam. He has appeared to give the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. Hari Purada Sundara Duti Kandarpa Sandeepitai. That Sachinandana, he has appeared with the radiance of the molten gold. Therefore, now he offers benediction. Sada Hridaya Kandare Swaratu. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may always manifest in your heart. So in this chapter, so this is a quotation from Vidagdha Madhav. There is a book which is written by Srila Rupa Goswami, Vidagdha Madhav. And in that Vidagdha Madhav, this verse comes. So Kaviraj Goswami is quoting that verse. So in this chapter, there are three external reasons for appearance of Lord Chaitanya will be described. First, he appears to inaugurate the Yuga Dharma. What is that? Kali Kaler Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan. So to inaugurate the Yuga Dharma Nama Sankirtan. Second, to bestow Prem Bhakti, Prema Rasa Nirayasa Karite Aswadan Ragamarga Bhakti Loke Karite Pracharan. That is the second reason. And the third reason is the appeal of Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya was very, very loudly calling, "Oh Lord, please appear." So therefore, Lord appeared. So these are the three reasons will be described in this verse, in this chapter. So Kaviraj Goswami begins by telling what happened when Krishna, he appears in this on this earth, and when does he appear? This is a very, very significant thing. So he says that Supreme Lord, the son of Nanda Maharaj, he eternally resides in Goloka Vrindavan. And Prabhupada writes that supreme abode of the Lord is aprakat. Aprakat means unmanifested, because we cannot see and perceive the spiritual world with our conditioned eyes. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, only I, which is anointed with the salve of love, can see that and perceive that Supreme Lord. So that Krishna, who is residing in Goloka, once in a day of Brahma, he manifests his pastimes. From aprakat, we ordinary mortal beings, we cannot see the pastimes of the Lord, but only once in a day of Brahma, Krishna manifests those pastimes in front of the eyes of all the mortal beings. Krishnera yate khela sarvottama Ādī-Līlā naravapu tahar swarup gopavesha venukara navakishore natavara Ādī-Līlā hoy anurup. So Krishna appears in so many avatars, but of all the avatars, the two-handed form of the Lord, that is his actual form, that is the human form, human-like form. When he appears, we can reciprocate with that form very easily. Only once happens, once in a day of Brahma. What is one day of Brahma? Kaviraj Goswami describes that also. So there are 4 yugas: Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali. You combine all these, it is called as Divya Yuga. It is a combination of these 4 yugas. In one day of Brahma. So first it tells the one Divya Yuga is Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. You take 71 such Divya Yugas, that is called one Manvantara. In one day of Brahma, 14 Manvantaras are there. So that is the understanding of one day of Brahma. Where all this calculation is given, Prabhupada writes in the purport. There is a book called Surya Siddhanta, and all this calculation is given in that. In one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, and one Manu lives for 71 Yuga cycles. One Manu rules for 71 yuga cycles, and that's how this entire day of Brahma is described. So Prabhupada writes, Srila Prabhupada, that is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his earlier name was Bimala Prasad. He was a very wonderful, powerful scholar of mathematics and astronomy. So what he did, he translated this Surya Siddhant into Bengali. And because of this translation, he was given this title of Bhakti Siddhanta. Because he translated Surya Siddhanta, he was given the title Bhakti Siddhanta. So that's what Prabhupada writes. And then later this Saraswati, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So the title was given Siddhanta Saraswati. So when Siddhanta Saraswati took sannyas, then his name was, this Bhakti was added. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Now the present Manu, now the 7th Manvantar is going on. Brahmaji lives for 100 such years. Now 50 years of Brahmaji is over. Now the 51st year, first day of Brahma is going on. And in the first day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Out of that, 7th Manvantar is going on. And who is the Manu? So Prabhupada in the purport, he describes the name of all the 14 Manus. He describes the name of all the 14 Manus. Swayambhuva Manu is the first Manu. Then Swarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, Chakshusha. And 7th is Vaivasvata. Vaivasvata means the son of Vivaswan. Who is Vivaswan? Sun god. So it's still a adjective, Vaivasvata. But what is the name of that Vaivasvata Manu? His name is Shraddha Dev. So all these technical details are described by Kaviraj Goswami. And then he tells, why I'm telling all this? Because in the 28th Divya Yuga, so now the 7th Manvantar is going on. In a Manvantar, there are 71 Yuga cycles. So now, which is the Yuga cycle which is going on? 28th Yuga cycle is going on. And in this 28th Yuga cycle, in Dwapar Yuga, at the end of Dwapar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, himself appears with his full paraphernalia. That happens only once in a day of Brahma. Such a rare occasion. Not once in a Yuga cycle, once in a day of Brahma, not once in a Manvantar, once in a day of Brahma. That's how rare it is. So Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in every 28th Yuga cycle of the 7th Manvantar. They have not come earlier, they will not come in the future. That shows our such rare fortune. If we contemplate on it, we can just be spellbound by our fortune. How fortunate we are. One devotee, Patit Pavan Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada disciple, he was telling that Prabhupada, he gave once an example of how to understand how fortunate we are, what we have received. Because many times we don't understand what we have received. Whatever we have received, it is so very, very rare. We'll be awestruck if we actually realize what we have received. To get a glimpse of that, Prabhupada, he gave one example. He said, just imagine there is a turtle which lives underwater. And he comes up above the water only once in a year for air. And you imagine that in that ocean, there is a log of wood with a hole in it. So log of wood with a hole floating in the ocean. and the turtle below comes only once above the surface to take air. What is the probability that the head of the turtle will go through the hole? What is the probability? Prabhupada told, that is the probability which you and I have encountered. Such a rarest of the rare occasions. Just look at so many millions of living entities are there roaming around, wandering in the material world. Who gets this chance? Billions and millions and trillions. Unlimited living entities are there. Out of those, who gets a chance to practice bhakti also? Forget about bhakti. People, they don't know who is God. What is spiritual life? Very, very rare. So that is what we have received. So there is no greater blessing which we can receive in the entire eternity. So what we have to do, we have to appreciate what we have received and take shelter. And the opportunity which we have received, if we don't take it seriously and if we lose it, there is nobody more unfortunate than us. Maevam mamadhamasyapi syate vachyut darshana riyamana kalanadya kvachit tarati kaschanaha. Akrura, he is offering his prayer. Oh, I am so fallen, but somehow today I will see the lotus feet of the Lord. Today I will take darshan of the Lord. So very rare, as he is entering Vrindavan, he sees the footprints of Krishna. He starts rolling in that footprints, and that's how he is reciting. That's where he is reciting these prayers. Satevach riyamana kalanadya. Just like in the flow of a river, sometimes two straws, they come together, they stay for some time, and then they get separated. It all happens by providence. So our taking to spiritual life is so very rare. We cannot even imagine our rarest of the rare fortune. So Kaviraj Goswami says that Supreme Lord, he appears in this world and he manifests various rasas. Rasa of Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Shringara, Chari Ras, Chari Bhavera, Bhaktayat, Krishna Taravash. Chari Bhave, in these four rasas, Krishna attracts the devotees. And if you see in these four rasas, Shanta Rasa is not mentioned. Prabhupada gives the explanation why Shanta Rasa is not mentioned. Because in Shanta Rasa, there is no active reciprocation with the Lord. So therefore, it is not given much importance. Because as soon as one comes to the process of bhakti, naturally Prabhupada translated bhakti as what? Devotional service. Not devotion. Devotional service. Bhakti means constant engagement in service of the Lord. If service is not there, what is the use? So therefore, Krishna, who is absorbed in love with Brajvasis, he reciprocates his dealings, reciprocates with all the Brajvasis. And Prabhupada in the purport, he describes that anyone who understands the tattva of Krishna, he will not come back in this world. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha yaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti swarjuna. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that because we have so many relationships in this world, but the relationships of this world end up in frustration. Either we die or the beloved person dies, or there are some clashes. There are some ill feelings which may come. So any relation of this world can never satisfy anyone for eternity. Therefore, the best way to find satisfaction is to establish relationship with Krishna. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone whose intelligence is not engaged in my consciousness, na asti buddhi ayukta. Yukta means attached. He can never be peaceful. Ashanta. And anybody who is ashant, how can he be happy? Ashantasya kuta sukham. Only a happy person can love Krishna. But happiness will come when mind is peaceful. Mind will never be peaceful when you establish relationship with things and people of the world. Because they are both temporary. Bhagavatam tells, people in this world, they think that their family, wife, children, they will protect them. They consider that these are my enemies. They are my armies. Sorry. Deha patya kalatradishu atma sainyashu asatsu api tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati. A person who is absorbed and engrossed in family life, he thinks, my body will protect me, my family will protect me, my husband or wife will protect me, my children, my bank balance, property, relatives, they will protect me. But Atma, he thinks that these are my Sena, Atma Sena. This is my army. I have created this army. But they don't understand this is a Satsu. It is fallible army. They'll get destroyed. Tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati. So engrossed in sense gratification, pramatta, prakrishta rupena matta, matlab completely mad. Pramatto nidhanam. He becomes bankrupt. Nidhanam. His whole life gets destroyed. He does not see death is coming. Pashyannapi na pashyati. He sees my relative has died, my grandfather has died, then father will die, my relatives are dead. So many people are dying around. Still, Pashyannapi na pashyati. That's how when we establish relationship with people of the world, we get unsatisfaction. Only relationship with Krishna can give satisfaction. And that's why Krishna appears in this world and manifests all these different rasas. So Prabhupada writes that Krishna, he descends to revive the dormant love which is there in the heart of each and every one, to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. Actually, that is the question which Shaunak Adi Rishi asks Suta Goswami in the first canto, first chapter. Third question was why Krishna appears in the womb of Mother Devaki. And the answer was to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. That's the only purpose. And that's why Krishna appears and tries to establish the relationship with all the living entities. But Krishna performed so many pastimes and then he disappeared. He went back. After disappearing, he is thinking in Goloka. What is he thinking? Chirakala nahi prema bhakti, chirakala nahi kari prema bhakti dan, bhakti vina jagatir nahi avasthan. Krishna is thinking, I have chirakal nahi kari prema bhakti dan. I have not given prema for a long time. Chirakal nahi kari prema bhakti dan, but bhakti bina jagatir nahi avasthan. But if a living entity does not get a chance to do bhakti, one cannot get deliverance from this material world. The entire existence is useless if one does not develop relationship with Krishna. So therefore, Prabhupada writes in the purport, seldom, very rare, Lord awards transcendental love. It is very, very rare. Pure transcendental love of Braja Bhava, Manjari Bhava, It is rarest of the rare things. It is sudurlabha. That's why Goswami tells bhakti is sudurlabha. Why it is very rare? Because Krishna does not give it so easily. Why? Because he becomes purchased by his pure devotees. He gives everything. Kya chahiye? Bolo, le lo. You want bhukti? Take it. You want mukti? Take it. Love, I will not give so easily. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daiva priya kulpati kvachakinkaro va astveva manga bhagavan bhajatam mukundo muktim dadati karichit svana bhakti yogam. So Narad Muni is telling to Yudhishthir Maharaj, oh Yudhishthir, Krishna has become your friend, your messenger, your worshipable deity, your protector. He is residing in your home. Why? Because you are his great devotee. Otherwise, Krishna does not give himself to anyone. Muktim dadati karhichit svana bhakti yogam. He will give liberation, but he will not give bhakti. Krishna yadi chute bhakte bhukti mukti diya, kabhu Krishna prem naden rakhe na lukaiya. छुपा के रखते हैं. Doesn't give bhakti so easily. He gives mukti, he gives sense gratification. Take it. Not bhakti. It is very, very rare. And then, Kaviraj Goswami writes, Krishna is thinking, by doing Vaidhi Bhakti, one cannot attain Braj Bhav. Sakala Jagat More Kore Vaidhi Bhakti. Vidhi Bhakti Braj Bhave Paite Nahi Shakti. So this is a very interesting verse. It may create some apprehensions. Sorry, we are doing Vaidhi Bhakti, what will happen to us? Will not get Braj Bhav. Sakala Jagat More Kore Vaidhi Bhakti. So Krishna is thinking, everywhere in the world, people worship me with awe and reverence according to the scriptural rules and regulations. But the problem is, Vidhi Bhakti Braj Bhave Paite Nahi Shakti. But by this Vidhi Bhakti, one cannot attain Braj Bhav. So how to understand this? Because in the past, many devotees have left ISKCON, left Prabhupada, thinking that Prabhupada has not given us the highest. So one time, one Prabhupada disciple, Revati Nandan Prabhu, he was sharing that there was one person, very scholar, his name was Nitai Das. In mid-70s, a very well-known person in ISKCON. He started associating with some Brajavasi, Babaji, and ultimately he left ISKCON. He started criticizing Prabhupada. He started telling that Prabhupada has not given us the highest. He has not told us our Swarupa. He has not told us Prem Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti. He is giving Vaidhi Bhakti. So this devotee, he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, are there any matters concerning devotional service, or very, very important to understand and listen this very carefully. So this devotee is asking Prabhupada, are there any matters of devotional service or anything concerning our relationship with Krishna that you have not explained to us? He is asking a question directly to Prabhupada. Secondly, he tells, is it that in future it will be necessary for us to find someone else so that we can get more knowledge? So these are two things he says. First, are there any matters of devotional service which you didn't tell us, or our relationship with Krishna you didn't tell us? And in future, do we have to go to someone else to get some higher instructions? Or, secondly, he says, or if we follow your prescription of Sankirtan, chanting, hearing, preaching, then as we get purified, our hearts get purified, everything will be revealed by Krishna in due course of time. As soon as he said that, Prabhupada said yes. He smiled, Prabhupada smiled. He said, yes, that is the way. You don't have to go anywhere else. If we just stick to the process, if you just follow my instructions, everything will be revealed from within. And Prabhupada was very happy to see that. So it is not that because Prabhupada has given us Vaidhi Bhakti, we will not attain Braj Bhav. Because who was Prabhupada? Prabhupada was a Brajvasi. He had Braj Bhav. You know? So naturally, when he is speaking this with such conviction, we should have faith. Everything will be revealed in due course of time. And in due course of time, of course, we have to graduate from Vaidhi Bhakti to another level. Raganuga Bhakti. Prabhupada writes, actually he speaks in one of the lectures. Vaidhi Bhakti is like an apprenticeship, training. So you don't go for training whole life. Training is for a short period of time. And then you have to transcend and come to the level of Raganuga or Bhava. In due course of time, it will be revealed. But Krishna is saying, by Vaidhi Bhakti, you cannot attain Braj Bhava. Aishwarya Jnanete Sarva Jagata Mishrit Aishwarya Shithila Prema Nahi Mora Preet. Very famous verse. Krishna is saying that, my people, they know my opulences, and in this way they worship me with awe and reverence. Aishwarya Gyan. Aishwarya Gyan means to know Krishna's supremacy, his opulence. Sarva Jagat Mishrit. But the problem is, I do not like that prema which is mixed with awe and reverence. Krishna likes Braj Prem more. In one of the earlier chapters, Kaviraj Goswami describes the mood of Krishna. I think in this chapter only it will come. He says how various Brajavasis reciprocate with him and how Krishna likes it. Mata more putra bhave kore na bandhan, ati hi na gyane kore lalana palan. Oh, my mother, he thinks, oh, this is my child. If I'll not take care of him, he will die. If I'll not feed him, he'll die. He binds me, he chastises me. And my friends, Sakha more shuddha bhave skandhe arohan, Sakha more shuddha bhave skandhe arohan, tumi ko na bada loka tumi amasam. So my friends, they climb on my shoulder and they'll tell, Are you, what big personality you are? You are like us only. Yesterday only I defeated you. Priya more mana kori koroe bhartsan, sarva veda stuti hoye hare moraman. When my gopis, they chastise me, that chastisement is more pleasing to me than the chanting of the Vedic hymns in my glorification. So therefore, Krishna is telling here, Aishwarya Jnanete Sarva Jagat Mishrit, but I don't like that. So, if somebody does Vaidhi Bhakti, what they will get? Either Sarupya, Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya. Sarishti means having the same opulence as the Lord. Sarupya means same bodily features as the Lord. Salokya means residing in the same planet as the Lord. And Samipya means residing in very close association of the Lord. But devotees, they are not interested in Aikatvam. To merge in Brahman, that is not acceptable for a devotee. Because there is no service in that. Kapil Dev also tells in third canto, Salokya Sarishti Samipya Sarupya Aikatvam Apyuta Diyamanam Na Grihananti Vinamat Sevanam Jana. My devotees are not interested in any of these liberations if there is no service involved. So therefore, Krishna is telling that, by Vaidhi Bhakti, one can achieve liberation in Vaikuntha. We can go to Vaikuntha. Devotees never accept Sayujya, That is the result of Vaidhi Bhakti. So therefore, to after considering all this, he thinks, Yuga dharma pravartaimu nama sankirtan chari bhave bhakti diya nachamu bhuvan. So now he's thinking, Krishna is thinking, I shall descend in this material. Yuga dharma pravartaimu. What is the yuga dharma? Yuga dharma is Nam Sankirtan. Nam Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the Yuga Dharma. I will descend in this world. Yuga Dharma Pravartaimu Nama Sankirtan Chari Bhave Bhakti Diya Nachamu Tribhuvan. I will give this Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. I will make the entire world dance in ecstasy. How will I do that? I will teach by my own personal example. Apani karimu bhakti bhavangi kare, apani achari prabhu shikhainu bhakti shikhainu sabare. How will I do that? Apani karimu. I will do and I will teach everyone. That is the best teacher. Teaching by personal example, by personal practice. Apani achari bhakti shikhaimu sabare. I will teach everyone by practicing myself. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that pure devotees of the Lord, they do not ask anything from the Lord, no personal benefit. They are just interested in serving the Lord. And even if devotees offered something, he does not accept. Devotees are interested only in serving. They are not interested in anything else. They don't want any other material benedictions by serving Lord. And this is the prayer of all the big devotees, all the great devotees mentioned in Bhagavatam. They are telling that. Just like Dhruva Maharaj tells, Ya nirvritis tanuvritam tava pada padma Dhyanad bhavajjana katha shravanena vasyat Sa brahmani swamahimanyaphi natama bhut Kim tvantaka silulita patatam vimanat. Oh my Lord, the happiness which I am getting by meditating on your form, by discussing about you with your devotees, that happiness cannot be compared with anything of this world. It is not even comparable to Brahman. Brahman is insignificant in front of that. And then what to speak of the heavenly pleasures? Kim tuvantakasi lulita patatam vimanat. So therefore Krishna is thinking, because unless one practices bhakti, they cannot attain me. And to practice bhakti, I have to teach them. Because unless I teach, they will not learn. And that is what is described in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. Whenever there is decline in religion, I appear. So now nobody is taking to Nam Sankirtan, I'll appear again. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkratam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To annihilate the miscreants, to protect the pious, I appear. And then Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Utside yuri me loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyamimah prajah. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, oh Arjun, I have no duties to perform in this world. Still I am doing my duties. Why? Because if I will not do, people will follow me and the entire society will be ruined, because whatever great people do, common people follow. Yad yadacharati shreshta tatta deve tarojana sayat pramanam kurte lokastadanvartate. So therefore, I will descend and I will teach by my own personal example. Yuga dharma pavartan hoye amsha hoite ama bina anye nahe braja prema dite. And then Krishna is telling very beautiful thing. He says, Actually, this Yug Dharma, Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Tajuskritam, it can be done by my Amsha also. My avatars are sufficient to do that, but only I can give prema. Braj Prem can be given only by Krishna. None of the other avatars can give Braj Prem. Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from Bilva Mangal Thakur's book Laghu Bhagavatamrit, which is found in Laghu Bhagavatamrit. In that, it is described, Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling that all the other incarnations, although they are all auspicious, all the incarnations, they are not different than the Lord. They are like one candle lighting another candles. We have heard earlier also. They are all same. But only Krishna can bestow Prem Bhakti. Only Krishna can give Braj Bhava, Braj Prem, nobody else. Tahate apana bhakta gana kari sange, prithvi te avatari karimo nana range. Therefore, to give that Braj Prem, tahate apana bhakta gana, I will not go alone. I will take all my associates, because in Kali Yuga, people are so degraded. I will expand into 5 forms. Panchatattva. Say Panchatattva se Prithvi Nachiya. Prithvi Achiya. Purve Prema Bhandarera Mudra Ughadiya. That love of God which was stored and locked up. Panchatattva came and broke open the lock and distributed this prema everywhere. Say Panchatattva, Prithvi Asiya, Purve Prema Bhandare Ramugada Udhari. Pache mili lute prema kore aswadan, yat yat piye Trishna bade anukshan. They are themselves tasting and they are distributing. So therefore, Krishna is thinking, I shall appear with my devotees and I shall spread this love of God. Etaboli kolikare. Now, again, Kaviraj Goswami is giving some technical details. When Krishna will appear, Etaboli kolikare prathama sandhyay avatirna hoila Krishna apani nadiyay. So thinking this, Krishna appeared in the Pratham Sandhya of this Kali Yuga, in the Nadiya. So Prabhupada writes, what is this Sandhya? So any Yuga is divided into 12 parts. And the first part, the 12th part, the first part is called Pratham Sandhya. And the last part is called Shesh Sandhya. So in the Pratham Sandhya, this Kali Yuga, which is 4,32,000 years, now the Pratham Sandhya is going on, which lasts for 36,000 years. And now only around 5,000 years have passed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears 4,586 years after Kali Yuga started. So that's how Kaviraj Goswami gives the exact detail of when Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Kaviraj Goswami describes the attributes of Lord Chaitanya and the predictions of his appearance. Chaitanya Simhera Navadipera Avatar, Simha Griva Simha Virya Simhera Hunkar. That Chaitanya, who is lion-like Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Simhera Navadipa Avatar. Lion-like Lord Chaitanya appeared in Navadipa. And what are his features? Simha Griva. It's like he has shoulders, broad shoulders of lion. Simha Griva, Simha Virya, very powerful. Simhera Hunkar. Just like when the lion roars, all the animals, they run away. Similarly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he dances and roars in Kirtan, all the atheistic people, they get transformed. All the anarthas are destroyed. And Kaviraj Goswami gives a benediction. May that lion like Lord Chaitanya be situated in my heart, in the core of every living being. Because that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so very merciful and affectionate to all the living beings. That is the hope for us. आपनी करी आस्वादने शिखाइला भक्त गणे प्रेम चिंतामणि प्रभु धनी नहीं जाने स्थान स्थान यारे तारे कोइलो दान महाप्रभु दाता शिरोमणि. Mahaprabhu is the best of the givers of charity, Data Shiromani. So therefore he tells that Lord Chaitanya, in his early days, he was known as Vishwambhar. Why he was known as Vishwambhar? Because he flooded the entire world with love of God. Chaitanya avatare vahe premamrita vanya sabajiva preme bhase prithvi hoilo dhanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world and flooded the entire world with love of God. Prithvi hoilo dhanya, the entire earth became very, very fortunate and auspicious. But anyone who does not take this opportunity seriously, he is most condemned. Evanyay jena bhase sei jeeva char koti janme ka bhutar nahi kanistar. He cannot be delivered. Whoever loses this opportunity, very, very difficult to get liberated. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami says, in this early past times, he was known as Vishwambhar because he flooded the entire world with the love of God. And this word Vishwambhar, this Vishwambhar comes from the word Bhara, comes from the word Dubrin. The meaning of the word root Dubrin means maintainer and one who nourishes. So Lord Chaitanya maintains and nourishes the entire humanity with the love of God. That's why he's called as Vishwambhar. And then in the later past times, he took the name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Shesha-Līlāya dharinam Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Shri Krishna janaye sab vishwa koila dhanya. In the later past time, Shesha-Līlā means the later 24 years. So in the first 24 years, he was known as Vishwambhar. And after he took sannyas, he was known as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And what he did? Why he was known as Sri Krishna Chaitanya? Shri Krishna janaye. He blesses the entire world by the teachings of Krishna. He gives devotion to everyone. That's why he's called as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And Prabhupada in the purport, he gives the elaborate explanation of the sannyas name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas from Keshav Bharati Maharaj, who was from Shankaracharya Sampradaya. So somebody may ask, why Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Shankaracharya Sampradaya? He could have taken from some Vaishnava Sampradaya also. And another accusation of some of the people are, actually before Shankaracharya, there was no Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Srila Prabhupada writes that actually long before Shankaracharya came, Vishnu Swami was there, and Vishnu Swami was a sannyasi, and very bona fide sampradaya from Vishnu Swami, Nimbarakacharya. He was there long before advent of Shankaracharya. But why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Shankaracharya Sampradaya, not from Vishnu Swami Sampradaya? Because during the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the influence of Shankaracharya was very much. It was very strong. People believed that unless you are a sannyasi from Shankara Sampradaya, you are not a bona fide sannyasi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why he wanted to take sannyas? He wanted to attract the attention of people. It will come in the later chapters. That Mahaprabhu was thinking that I want to inundate the entire world with the love of God, but these people, they are running away. कुतर्क पाषंडी यत पड़ुयाधम से सब महादक्ष धाइया पलाइया ये सब बन्या शुइते नारिला. अरे they are running away. All these atheists and bogus students, they are running away. To drown them into this river, I will devise a trick. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas. So he wanted to take sannyas in a sampradaya which is very, very famous, so that people will get attracted. Oh, he's a sannyasi from Shankara Sampradaya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't want to disturb the social convention. So he took sannyas from Shankara Sampradaya because it was very, very famous sampradaya. And Prabhupada writes that in Shankara Sampradaya, there are 10 different types of names awarded to sannyasis. Tirtha, Ashrama, Vana, Aranya, Giri, Parvata, Sagar, Saraswati, Bharati and Puri. And Prabhupada writes all these various types, various sannyasis, they live in various areas. So Shankaracharya established 4 mathas throughout India. In Dwarka, in Jagannath Puri, in Badrika Ashram, and in Sringeri. So he describes how Tirtha and Ashram, they stay in Dwarka, and Giri, Parvat and Sagar, they stay in Badrika Ashram, like that. And this Bharati, Saraswati, Bharati and Puri, they were staying in Sringeri Math. And their brahmacharya name is Caitanya. So why Lord Chaitanya, although he took sannyas from Bharati Sampradaya, which was a Mayavad Sampradaya, he didn't take the name Bharati. He retained his name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Why? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he gives the explanation. Because Mayavadis, when they take sannyas, they address themselves as Narayan. Namo Narayana. Danda grahana matrena naro narayano bhavet. They think just by taking sannyas, you become Narayan, you become God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to be very, very clear. He didn't want to confuse people. So therefore, to avoid any misconception, he retained his name as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Although he took sannyas from Bharati Sampradaya, he didn't take their name. Because he knew that Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas, we cannot become God, we are meant to serve God. So therefore he took the name. He didn't take the name of Bharati Sampradaya. So that is what is described so far. So we'll end here. We'll continue next time. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anyways, any questions? Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.